Something you're going to get used to doing a lot inside of Microsoft Word is adding content. And that's what Word is all about. Adding text, whether that's alphabet, numeric, special characters, whatever it is, but adding content to your document. So I want to go over some of the basics here of how you're going to add content, add text to a document. And we're going to talk about other forms of content as we go through this course, things like images, tables, table of contents, charts, all sorts of other types of content. But let's talk about just some of the basics of getting some text into your document. Now, open in front of you, I've got the example file that I'm going to supply with this course. You can download it right here on this lecture. It's called 01 Word Entering Text Basics. It's a Word document, .docx. So feel free to download that document and follow along with me. It's a really simple document, but we're going to cover some of the key basics that you're going to build upon throughout the rest of this course. So up above, I've got a series of lines of text. And if you read through them, they talk about some of the techniques that you can use to enter text into this document. So the first one, using a combination of keys on your keyboard, right? Anything on your keyboard, letters, numbers, special characters, this allows you to create lines of text. Okay? Down below, I've got an area for you to practice. So I'm just going to click below that line, and I'm going to retype that line of text right there. So just using the keys on my keyboard, using a combination of keys on your keyboard. All right, and that's letters, numbers, whatever it is. I got a bunch of letters in there. Here's my number pad. I got my numbers. Special characters, things like Shift 2, get the @ symbol in there. Shift 4, get the currency symbol in there, the dollar symbol in there, and so on. But using a combination of these characters, you're going to start to add content and create lines of text on your Word document. Okay, there's one. Now, very important, as I'm typing that line of text there, let's say I'm all done. I'm going to go period. Like, hey, I'm done with that sentence. I want to move away from that topic and I want to get into a whole new line of text. Well, read the second line here. Using the Enter key will allow you to create a new line or a new paragraph. So on my keyboard, I'll press Enter. You'll notice that this drops my cursor or your insertion point down to a whole new line. I've now left that previous line that I was typing on, then I've dropped down to a whole new line, and it's created a little bit of space in between those two lines. Now this is very important because I'm creating a new line, but I'm also creating a new paragraph inside of Word. This is a hard return. So now if I start typing, using the Enter key, we'll create a new line or paragraph. Okay? Now I'm going to turn something on here. Let's say period. Okay? I'm going to turn something on here that's going to help us identify the different keystrokes that I'm using on my keyboard. Whether it's the space bar to create space between words, or it's the Enter key on my keyboard, or a number of other special keys on my keyboard to help me insert this text. I'm going to go up to my Home tab, top of my screen, Home. Underneath the Paragraph section, I have this kind of what looks like a backwards P. These are your paragraph markers or formatting markers. So I give that a click. This is going to turn on some symbols on my document. Now, anytime you see the backwards P, it means that you hit your Enter key. You created a new line, you created a new paragraph. Anytime you see a dot, see that little dot inside of there? You see them everywhere in between my words. That's every time I hit my space bar on my keyboard. Now, let's see, if I keep going here, there's one that looks like kind of a little hooked arrow. Let's take a look at that one. I'm going to drop down a new line here. And let's see, using the Shift, let's spell that right, Shift plus Enter. Shift plus Enter. So on my keyboard, I'm going to hold down Shift and the Enter key. So I'll do Shift, then hold down my Enter key. This creates what's called a soft return. And it creates that little hooked arrow. Now if I keep typing here, using the Shift plus Enter key, creates a soft return, period. you'll notice that it did create a new line for me, but it didn't give me as much space. Right? Remember when I hit my enter key here, that was a hard return. It gave me a bunch of space. I got some space in between the two new paragraphs. But with the shift enter, still banging on my keyboard, any characters I want out there, this creates a soft return. And there's less space in between the two. Clear that off my screen. Now if I keep going here, I can retype this entire line right here. When enough characters are typed, you'll eventually reach the edge of the page or the margin of the page. This will cause the text to automatically wrap to a new line. So I don't have to hit my enter key every time I want to wrap down to a new line. But if I'm continuing the same thought, the same paragraph, maybe it's a single sentence or multiple sentences, I just keep typing. As soon as I reach this edge of the page, or what we'll consider the margin of the page, Word will automatically wrap the text down to a new line. Automatically. Nothing new that we have to do there. No special key you got to hold down or anything. Now these are just basics. I'm sure some of you watching this video are like, yeah, okay, this is I know this stuff, right? You've been working inside of a word processor, whether it was Word or other applications for a while now. These are basic stuff. If not, we want to nail down these key concepts. Bang it on your keyboard, right? Whatever it is you're typing out there, text, numbers, whatever it is, okay, getting that content out there on the page. To help you organize that content, you're going to use things like your enter key to be able to create new paragraphs. You're going to use shift enter to do a soft return. Not a whole new paragraph, but perhaps we want to end a sentence and then drop down. Really helpful inside of bullet lists. Maybe you got a header, and right below that, you want a soft return, you want to create your bullet list. There's other key combinations that we can use. The next line here talks about using the tab key. If you want to indent, see that character right there? That little right arrow? That's because I hit the tab key on my keyboard. I was able to indent that in. Now I'm going to turn on something additional here on my screen. If I go to my View tab, top of my screen, I'm going to activate the ruler. And let's see what we got here. So if I go down to that line, and again I hit my tab key there, it moved it in, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. It moved it in about 1/2 inch from the left margin of the page. And that's what happens every time you hit your tab key. It goes in an inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. If I get back up here and I hit my tab key a few more times, just place my cursor there, you'll see I got multiple tab strokes inside of there, and every time I did it, it moved 1/2 inch in there. So again, using these combination of keys on your keyboard together with a way for you to organize your content, enter, tab, shift enter, your space bar, help you to organize and place content into your document. So try this out. Download the example file, just copy the lines down below and pay close attention to the keywords in there like enter and shift enter and tab. Try different characters. Try numbers and text. You can even write your own sentences if you like. But I've given you some examples here that you can just follow down below. Try it out. Get comfortable adding content, text content, to your document. Once you get done adding content to a Word document, you're going to find that there's potential mistakes that we need to go back in and fix. Whether that's misspellings in words, improper formatting that you're using with your paragraphs or your tabs, additional spaces where they shouldn't be, whatever it might be. We all make mistakes, whether it's inside of our own documents or documents that we receive from coworkers or others. We need to get in there and be able to edit the content. So I've got another example file here. Feel free to download it. It's right here attached to this video. It's called 02 Word Editing Text. And I've got a couple of really simple examples here that we're going to go back in and fix of mistakes. Spelling errors, additional formatting characters like spaces or enters in the wrong place, whatever it might be. So let's see how we can get back in there and edit this document. And this is really simple to do. It really relies, in order to make the edits, it relies on your cursor, where you place the cursor. So first sentence here, edit the spelling mistage in this sentence. So Word, it recognized that, hey, there's a misspelling in here. They underlined it in red there. And we're going to talk more about the spell checker later on and see how we can fix this. But to manually do this, I need to make that change. I need to say this is mistake. So I need to change that G to a K. So I place my cursor just to the right of the G, and I'll hit the backspace key on my keyboard. We'll backspace that out. I'll type in the K, and there I fixed the mistake from mistage to mistake. So again, I've just placed my cursor directly to the right of the character or the area that I want to delete, and then I just press my backspace key. And I can press it once to get rid of that G, press it multiple times if I want to delete out a whole bunch of stuff. Whatever I need to do, but place your cursor first, and then you can start to attack whatever mistake you've made. Let's see. Find the missing word in this and add it. All right. So what I'm looking here is I want to put the word sentence. Find the missing word in this sentence and add it. So I place my cursor in there. Let's see. Find the missing word in this. I want to put it right in between this and. So I place my cursor in there. Now I'm right next door to the S. I'm going to turn on my paragraph markers, my format markers there. Remember the little dot inside there? That represents a space every time you hit your space bar on your keyboard. So right now I got a space in there, but I need another one. So I'm going to tap my space bar again. Now I got two spaces, dot, dot, but right in between those two, right where the that line is at, my cursor's at, I'm going to type in the word sentence. And there we have it. Find the missing word in this sentence and add it. Cool. Once again, all based on where you place your cursor at your insertion point. That's where you'll begin typing or deleting with your backspace. All right, there's too many tabs at the beginning of the sentence. Remove one of them. Well, if I turn off the paragraph markers once again, remember that backwards P up there on your home tab, I can see I got a lot of white space in there. But I turn on the paragraph markers, I can see I got two tabs. Remember the arrows, they denote every time you hit your tab key. Not a big deal. I place my cursor just to the right of one of them. I can even do it in front of the first one if I'd like to. Hit my backspace, and I've now removed one of those tabs. All right, one more. Areas of this sentence have too many spaces added between the words. Remove the extra spaces. Remember, backwards P, you've got multiple dots in there. Anywhere you see multiple dots, we want to go in there and just clean those up. Place my cursor in there, and I'll just wipe out the extra dot which denotes the space. So these are all little things, but once again, they're foundational. Being able to add text that we talked about earlier, now being able to edit that text. You're going to do a lot of it. And to help you identify these special characters and additional symbols or misspellings, Word does some of the work for you. Now it's just up to you. Place your cursor where you need to make the change. Either type on your keyboard once you're there, delete it out with your backspace, whatever you need to do. But try it out. Get into this example file, 02 Word editing text, download it, open it up and make those corrections. Use your insertion, use your mouse to place your cursor wherever you need it, and then make your changes, make your updates. Try it out. Let's take a look at navigating a Microsoft Word document. Now you're going to have many different ways to be able to navigate around and find the content that you want to go through, that you want to edit, that you want to delete, whatever it is. But you're going to have many, many different methods in order to navigate the document. Let's take a look at a few of these. Okay. So first off, you got your mouse, right? And this is probably one of the ones that I use the most common. I'll take my mouse and I can use my middle mouse wheel just to scroll through the pages. I'm scrolling towards my hand, and this is allowing me to move down through the pages. If I scroll away from myself, I'm scrolling up on the middle mouse wheel, then I'll scroll up to earlier pages. And I use that a lot. Just a really quick, efficient way to help me navigate through a document. Now, if you've got much larger documents, perhaps that's not the most efficient way. I got 50, 100 plus pages in this document, then sitting here scrolling with my mouse wheel probably isn't the quickest, most efficient way for me to do it and to find a very specific bit of content. but it's one way for me to do it, and I do it a lot. You've got your scroll bar. Over here on the right-hand side of the screen, I've got my vertical scroll bar. Now actually, depending on how closely you're zoomed into the document, you may also get a horizontal scroll bar down at the bottom of your screen. Now you get that when your page is too wide to fit on the screen. Mine is already on the screen. You can see I got kind of these margined areas, these gray areas on here on the side of my screen, so I don't need that horizontal scroll bar. But if I zoom in really close, for example, I get in here, middle mouse wheel and the control key on my keyboard will allow me to zoom in, and you can now see that I got a horizontal scroll bar at the bottom of my screen now. But in either case, let me zoom back out again. Again, just control key and your middle mouse wheel. I got my vertical scroll bar, and I could use that just to left click and drag and help me scroll through those pages. Now, a little known fact inside of Word, if you right click on the scroll bar, you'll get some options. I can get to the top, meaning the first page of the document. I get to the bottom or last page. I can go page up, page up, page up, one at a time, or page down. Then I can just scroll up and scroll down as well. Again, that was just me right mouse button clicking on the scroll bar. You've also got some shortcut keys on your keyboard. Right above my arrow keys. Now I'm sitting at a full keyboard here. If you're on a laptop, your buttons might be in a slightly different location. But mine, on a standard keyboard, right above my arrow keys, I got my page up and page down buttons. Then if I give the page up button a click, this will take me up to the first page. I'm currently on the first page. I'll do page down, take me to page 2, and so on. And I can continue pressing page down or page up to help me navigate through that document. Now, these are all great. Middle mouse wheel, right click the scroll bar, just use the scroll bar, page up, page down on your keyboard. Here's another one. This is a really neat feature. It's actually one of the features up on the Home tab of the Microsoft Word ribbon. And you're actually going to find this in most Microsoft applications. They might be used a little bit differently, but the concept's the same. If I go to the Home tab, here I am on the Home tab. Over on the right, I got a Find section or a Find command. If I get into Find, there's an option for Go To. I'll open that up. I got on my Go To tab, I also got Find and Replace in there. Go To, I've got many different things that I can go to, such as pages. I could type in a page number, let's say page 3, and I can say Go To, and it'll take me right to page 3. I can say, hey, I want to go to a table. I got a few tables inside of here, and it tells me enter plus and minus to move relative to the current location. Example, +4 will move forward 4 items. So from this current table, I can move forward 4 items, or plus or minus so many items. If I just hit next or previous, this will take me through orders of the table. I hit next, there I am at the current table or the next table. I can go previous. I've got a table that's previous to that, next, and so on. You can also do graphics or images in the same thing, plus and minus relative to where you're currently at. I'll say go previous. Let's see if I got one there. Then I got that little dog. I think that's the only image I got in there. But you got many different things that you can go to within the Microsoft Word application. Again, all ways to help you navigate the document. And of course, really simply, I can just click someplace with my mouse and I can use my arrow keys to help me move up and down within that document. Not a big deal. So many different ways. You got your middle mouse wheel, you got your scroll bar, you got shortcut keys, page up and page down. You got on your Home tab, underneath Find, you'll have Go To, and you got ways to be able to jump around within the document and look for specific content. So try these out. Open up the example file. It's a really simple one, just a few pages long, got a little bit of content in there, but it's called 03 Word Navigation adoc.docx. So try it out. Just get some of these shortcut keys down, navigate the document, just get comfortable with moving around within a Microsoft Word document. Now that we've got a good understanding of navigating the document, and that's something you're going to do all the time, it's going to become second nature to you. Now let's take a look at selecting text within a document or selecting content within a document. Now I've got an example file open in front of you, and do feel free to download this file. It comes with this lecture right here. It's called 04 Word Selecting Text. It's a .docx file. And I've got some of the common ways up above a little bullet list right here of how you can select text within a Word document. And feel free, download the file and try this out. So double clicking, this is all with the mouse, double clicking, triple clicking, click and drag, and then I got some keyboard shortcuts as well to help you select text. Let's try some of these out. So first, a double click. I want to be able to select a specific word, maybe to make it bold or delete it or italicize it. Do something with it. Well, I come down here and I say, let's say like powerful. I want to make that bold. It's powerful, right? So I jump in here, I just give it a double click. It selects it. There it is. And it gives me a little IntelliSense menu here. This was introduced back in the 2010 edition of Word. And I can make it bold, or I can italicize it, or do whatever I need to with that selected word. Now again, that was a double click. I double click a word and it selects that word. There's one. Number two, triple click. Now this one, you might recall earlier, I was able to turn on the formatting marks or the paragraph markers. And this one, a triple click, will jump from wherever you triple click out to grab a line of text or wherever it finds that paragraph marker at. Let me turn that symbol back on for a moment. I go back to my Home tab and I turn on this little backwards P button, your formatting marks. Now remember these little backwards P's that show up everywhere? That denotes where you hit your enter key. So if I jump into a paragraph and I triple click, 1, 2, 3, it jumps all the way out to where it finds that paragraph mark. Okay? And it selected the entire paragraph. Well, what if I come down to this line, triple click this line? I do a triple click, 3 clicks, and it's jumped out all the way to where it found that backwards P, that paragraph mark. So you want to be able to make an entire paragraph bold, or change its font, or its color, or its alignment, whatever it might be, triple click. Really quick, efficient way for you to be able to jump out and grab an entire block of text. Now click and drag. This is a pretty common one. I just want to be able to select a specific line of text, or maybe a specific set of words. So I come into here, I'll find a spot, I just place my cursor there. Here I am right before the word video. I'll left click and just drag. Click and drag. I'll just get this one sentence right here. Video provides a powerful way to help you prove your point. And then I can make it bold or change its color or whatever I need to do with it. But just a simple click and drag, find where you want to begin, click, and then drag to your endpoint. That's it. All right. Now again, multiple ways to do just about everything. You'll use some of these techniques actually much more than others. I do double clicks all the time just to be able to grab specific words that I need. And you know what? You can also do this. If I double click a word such as powerful, I can then hold down my control key, and let's say I want to make powerful bold. I also want to change professionally. I want to make that bold as well. So I can double click that. And I can select, holding down my control key, I can select multiple words. So I come down here and say, let's say elements and styles and theme. I want to make that all bold. So I hold down my control key, go through and double click through my document, and now I can make all these changes at once. Make it bold, italicize it, change color, whatever I need to do with it. Remember your control key. Alright, that was really using my mouse. And for me personally, I use that all the time. Click and drag, double click, probably the two top ones that I use. Now another way to do this is using keys on your keyboard. Let's say I want to grab this video provides a powerful way. I just place my cursor directly to the left of video, and if I hold down my shift key and then use my arrow keys, and the arrow is going to denote which direction you want to select. If I hold down my right arrow key, this will select a letter at a time. Every time I hold down my shift key and press my right arrow. I can always go back, oops, I went too far, and then subtract from that selection. So just your shift key and your arrow keys, whatever direction you need to go. Now that selected a letter at a time. I want to be able to select an entire word at a time, like get video, provides, a, and so on. Well, now I'll do Control Shift and then use my arrow keys. And this will jump a word at a time, or essentially it'll find where the space is at. And it'll jump to that. Control Shift, and then use your arrow keys, and you can go back and subtract. If I hit my down arrow, this will jump all the way down, grab everything, I can subtract that back out. Control Shift and your arrow keys to help you make selections. Now I'm going to give you one more technique. I didn't write this one down into the screen here, but it just popped into my head, and it's actually one that I use quite a bit of as well. Off to the left of all of my content, I've got my border or my margin. And right now I've got a pretty wide margin on this default Word document. But you'll notice when I move my mouse over there, it changes shape. I've got this little arrow kind of pointed to the right. Now if I left click out there, I can grab single lines. All I'm doing is going to the border and just clicking, grab that line, delete it, format it, do what I want with it. Or you can left click and drag out there, and that'll allow you to make selections as well. Now something really neat, and this was introduced back inside of the, I want to say it was the 2007 edition of Word. You can also grab single lines or click and drag, but then use your control key to grab multiple lines or multiple selections. And I love that feature. I've gone through documents where, oh, I need to format this area and this area and this area, and I do need to do it all the same. Maybe if it's even on completely different pages of the document. Page 1, I need to make this section blue. On page 20, I need to make this section blue. On page 50, I need to make this section blue. Don't do it one at a time, but grab the section, hold down your control key, go down to the next page, grab that section, and so on, and do all your formatting at once. Make it really quick and efficient for you. All right, so you got a few techniques, and I want to encourage you, try this out. Get in there, double click, triple click, click and drag. Use the shortcuts on your keyboard. Use your margins, whatever it is. Right? Get familiar with these techniques, speed up, become more efficient as you're selecting text within a Microsoft Word document. The Microsoft Office applications are full of all sorts of shortcut keys to help you become more efficient while you work inside the application. Speed up your process. I love shortcut keys. Any way that I can speed it up, I can get Word to do some of the work for me, or Excel, or whatever application I'm working in, the better off I'm going to be. I'm all in when it comes to shortcut keys. Now I've mentioned some of them already, and I'm going to continue to mention more shortcut keys as we go through this course, but I've created a simple little Word document here with some of the more common shortcut keys. Some of these you might be familiar with, some of them maybe not so much, but I recommend download the file, take a peek at it, notice the ones, refresh your memories on the ones that you already use, and take a look at some of the new ones that you probably don't use just yet. But you're going to find, as you start memorizing these and starting to use them in your day-to-day process within Word, you're going to get faster and more efficient as you work inside the application. So download the simple little file. I've also provided a link at the bottom of the page where you can find a whole slew, a whole mess of shortcut keys that Microsoft offers within Microsoft Word. Now some of these are going to work across just about any application that you work in. Some of them will be a little more specific to Word itself. But download the file, take a look at the sample list there, and visit the link. Get out to Microsoft and take a look at what they've supplied as well. Something you're going to do inside of not just Word, but any application on your computer that you're opening up, you're going to want to be able to save what you're working on. Microsoft Word is no different. And in fact, I would recommend that you save often as you're in there creating and editing documents. So let's start this lecture out by just creating a brand new blank document. So if you don't have it open already, just open up Word. We get into the start screen, or if you're on 2010 or earlier, you just get a blank document open in front of you right away. So here, I'm just going to grab blank document. Now, something I like to do when I first start out working inside of a brand new document is I like to save it just right off the bat. Give it a name, set it on my computer someplace, just get that out of the way. So my first step here, I'm going to go up to my File tab, top of my screen. Underneath File, I'll go find Save. Now, a very common question I get from beginners within an application, whether that's Word, Excel, or wherever, is, hey, at this point, what's the difference between save and save as? Well, keep in mind, this is a brand new document. We haven't given it a name. We haven't saved it anywhere on the computer yet. So, choosing save or save as, they're exactly the same. Because in either case, it's going to ask me, well, where do you want to save it? and what do you want to name it? Later on, after you've already created the document and saved it, given it a name, put it someplace on your computer or on your network drive or wherever, well, then these become two different things. Because I've already saved it, set it all up, saving it just overrides the previous iteration. It just saves it. If I do a save as, then it gives me an opportunity in that existing document to perhaps give it a different name and perhaps save it in a different location. Now, if I've got an existing document that I'm working on, I might typically just save it. I make a change to it, I'm just going to save my changes. But if I want to create maybe different versions of the document, like, hey, I made a change last week and I'm making a change this week, and I want to save it under a different file name, then I'll do a save as. See the difference there? Save just overrides. Save as gives you an opportunity to change directories as well as change names. So, brand new document. Doesn't matter which one I pick at this point. So I'll just hit save. Takes me into the save as. And now I get to pick my location on my computer. And once I pick a location on my computer, let's just go to computer. I'll do exercise files here. Brings me into my nice little directory or my file explorer here on my Windows machine. I can give it a name. I'll change that from doc1. We'll just call this new doc. Yada, yada, yada. Call it whatever you like to inside there. So I try to stay away from really extreme special characters. Things like ampersands, dollar signs, pound symbols. But I do get in the habit of using hyphens. I like to use hyphens because I don't like to put a lot of spaces in my file names. So I use hyphens in there to help me kind of simulate those spaces. Totally just a preference here, and that's just something I've gotten into. But I give it a name. I go ahead and hit the save button, lower right corner of my screen. And I've now saved that document. And you can see here at the top of my screen that it's named after the file I just created, new doc-01. And it's a .cox file. That's it. Very simple. In your document, go up to File. You got Save. Got a current document. You're just saving your iterations. You got Save As if you want to change directories and give it a new file name. Remember, if it's a brand new document, it really doesn't matter which one you pick. You're going to get the same interface. So try this out. Just open up a brand new document. Go up to File. Save. Give it a name. Put it on your desktop or wherever you want to. But take a look at saving your document.